Today we'll sculpt probably the most horrific character yet, the Sister of Despair from Turok 2. I asked you to submit a character of yours in my Discord server for me to resculpt, and this is the first one of them. I want to start by kit bashing together a character. So I can just use my base mesh and then just remove the lower part. Look at that. We already have most of it done. Of course, when we look at the Sister of Despair, they don't have 5 fingers, they have 3. I guess we could just go in here and remove the fingers. I think first of all we can get rid of this part here. It looks already way better than it did before. And then we can grab the other finger and also put it together. And then we already have a nice little demon finger hand here. We could scale it up a bit, just not too much. I don't want to make it too huge. So I think that looks kind of like Mickey Mouse gloves right now. It would probably be more bony if you're a ghost. You probably don't eat that much anymore. Make them longer. Ooh. Oh, look at that. That already looks pretty cool. Nice and curvy like that. I think that could work quite well. I think I want to make the fingers even slender to kind of give it a more feminine look, because there isn't that much fat or muscle anymore. The tendrils could show a little more. Look at that. I think that's a pretty good start. You can see like the spine and ribs showing in the original. So I probably want to kind of copy that here as well. As if the lower body, I guess, didn't make it. She's probably going to be very slender again. So we can add the rib cage here probably pretty strongly like that. I think that adds quite a lot here. We could maybe still keep like a few tendrils here in the middle to still have something here. I think that would make sense. So let's just actually show some ribs here. Probably this one. I think that just makes it look a little cooler. There you go. Of course, we also need the spine, which would be somewhere over here. Oh, hello. Which then goes backwards. I don't really know how this would hold together, but I guess it's a flying corpse of a witch. I don't think we really need to care too much about realism necessarily. Of course, we don't have exposed boobas, so we need to get some cover here. I think I actually want to change the shape. The shape just kind of looks so weird. It looks like a pasty. I'm going to change the plate just because it looks weird. Make it more of this sort of square thingy. So I think the shape just, I don't know, it just looks better. And probably because she hasn't eaten that much, I think we can also show some more ribs here. Her body was looking too healthy. To really hammer home the creepy and mutated look, I defined the bones and muscles to an extreme degree, to really sell this look of malnourishment and deformation. A great way to do that is by still showing the bone structure in the muscles that lie on top. First, I sculpt the muscles on top of these sculpted bones and then add a hint of that underlying structure back into the muscle. Doing that for all parts of the body brings it closer to what an undead witch resurrected as a ghost would probably look like. Now we get to the head. And as I said before, I want to redo the head. So I'm just going to... Oh, hello. That already looks pretty scary, actually. But that's not really what I wanted to go for. I think the head shows pretty well the limitation that you had back in the day. Just basically just like an egg. And then with some, you know, fairly basic textures applied to it. Which doesn't really give you a lot of idea what it's showing. Of course, you can see, you know, she has like wide eyes and like very high eyebrows, you know. But nothing really that much more. I read that there's supposed to be runes somewhere on the body, so I'm going to add that as well at some point. One thing that I definitely want to keep is that it's supposed to be like a bald witch, so I'm not going to suddenly give her like hair, for example. It's kind of comically high, the eyebrows. I don't want to make the character look goofy, so it's really hard to turn these goofy features into something that looks somewhat scary as well. But I think just keeping the features very sharp and defined can do that pretty well. I think that's pretty good. One thing that is still missing are the horns. I want them to basically grow out of the skull through the skin and, you know, onto the front of her head. Keeping them like super straight also looks weird. What if we add like a second smaller horn somewhere over here, just to add a little bit more to it? And now with the blockout done, let's get into the details. The first thing I want to make sure before I actually go into the detailing is that the head shape looks correct. All the bones around the eyes sort of revolve around the eyes, and if the eyes don't look right, then those bones also don't look right. Afterwards, I can then go ahead and combine all the pieces together, like making it so that the horns actually come out of the skull. I wanted to make, of course, the witch very lean, so I really wanted to make sure that the muscles are very shown underneath the skin, so the skin doesn't smooth out the muscles too much. And then with the crease brush, I can really make sure that, especially here, as you can see for the spine, I want to make sure that there's like this clear structure to, for example, the spine, or in general everything. This sort of, you know, just refining all the different bits and pieces of the sculpt is basically what I need to do now for everything, to really sharpening everything up, maybe smooth out a few different areas to make it just kind of a little tighter, more distinct and better to read. Even though I said before, you know, it's supposed to look kind of like weird, I still wanted to make sure that the anatomy overall looks correct. And then we come to the details, which for example are the veins. The veins can really bring the sculpt more to life. Even though maybe she's a ghost, she doesn't necessarily have blood going through her veins. I still wanted to add some more like small details because that can really help make the sculpt look more interesting. And of course, I didn't want to just keep the sculpt as a boring A-pose character. So I had to use all the sculpt tools that I could, which is basically just the grab brush to move things around, and then also stuff like the transformation tools. And now that we have the shape, let's get into the colors. So this will be the base for the horns, and for the fingers as well. It's basically bone that is coming through, which is then also being affected by the environment. So it's not just like this pure white, but it's actually, you know, more yellowish because it's being affected by the environment. Also, if you want to be the next submission for this, make sure to join the Discord. The link is in the description, and there you can post your own work, and then, you know, mine might cover it in the future. Let's see if red runes would actually look cool. I made these sort of demonic runes, just kind of making them up myself with some help of Google Images. Oh, look at that. I think that looks pretty cool. And you can see here these small details as well. I made the runes sort of ingrained by making the surrounding area sort of bumpy and create this sort of surrounding or this contour of bumpy skin, I guess, around the rune to really make it look like it's been sort of burned into the skin. All the basic colors are there. Now it is time to add some variation. I think the easiest thing we could do is to maybe add some like bloodiness into the skin, making it more like purplish to make it look like dead blood would probably look pretty cool. Just to add some more disgustingness and also make it, you know, add some more variation. So I kind of want to go away from the basic just blue tone that the original has and probably add some reddish tones in there as well. I think that can work pretty well here to really make this look, you know, kind of bloody and disgusting. Now that we have the bloody muscles, we can go into the other direction, like this bony yellow, to really highlight some of these bones here that sort of are very close to the skin surface. Like the skin is almost like see-through, and you can see the underlying structure. So I'm going to finish painting this and adding some more materials, which is going to be, you know, some even smaller details that I couldn't really add by, you know, sculpting them. And once all of that is done, you're going to see the final version in 3, 2, 1.